And this news came out yesterday. Now, this is unfortunate, but, and I hate to say it, just like we told you about the student loan debt cancellation, we told you this was going to happen too. Joe Biden has come forward and has admitted that they will not codify Roe v. Wade. Let's go on. Just going to make sure I make this a little bit bigger for you. Biden says Democrats will not be able to pass abortion rights legislation. I don't think there's enough votes to codify unless something happens unusual in the House. So they're not even going to try. You see how you just fold, like you're not even going to try? This was the single issue that they ran on, and you're not even going to try. Student loan debt cancellation, student loan debt cancellation was just blocked. And you're out here telling people you're not even going to try to codify Roe v. Wade? All these people that came out to vote for you? Let's go on. Let's go into the article. Wow, 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 wow. There he is, and here we go. President Joe Biden said Monday that he did not expect Democrats to have enough votes in Congress to be able to pass legislation codifying Roe v. Wade. You know what's interesting about this too? He says they don't have the votes in the House. But when they were campaigning on this, they were telling people we just need to flip those 2 seats in the Senate. You guys remember this? We just need 2 more in the Senate and then we can do it. What did I tell you guys? What did I tell you? People said, when we said this, people said, you guys are being pessimistic. Okay. You guys just don't want them to get anything. Why would I be against giving a woman right to choose? I'm not against that. You guys just want to say bad things about Joe Biden. You don't want anything to happen. Maybe I'm smart enough to understand how this works. Told you so. 2 told you so's this week. Let's go on. When asked at a news conference in Indonesia what Americans could expect Congress to do about abortion access, Biden said, I don't think they can expect much of anything other than we're going to maintain our positions. You couldn't have phrased this better. I don't think they can expect much of anything. You got that right. What you couldn't have. This is how you frame this? Really? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I don't think there's enough votes to codify unless something happens unusual in the House, Biden said. I think we're going to get very close in the House, but I don't think we're going to make it. And he's known this all along. He knew this all along. Listen, the Republicans won back the House, right? But not by much. It's not like they won like all these seats. It's not like they won like 20, 30 seats. Not by much. It was close. Joe Biden knew this was a possibility. He knew there was a chance this wasn't going to go through. But they ran on it anyway. Let's go on. Control of the House remains unresolved. By the way, not as a couple of minutes ago. So just keep that in mind. This article is from yesterday. Control of the House remains unresolved as vote counting in the midterm elections continues. Republicans remain the favorite to control of the chamber by narrow majority. See, even here, it's a narrow majority. And so if they have a narrow majority, why are they not even going to try? What happened to working with people across the aisle? Come on, Joe Biden. Why don't you teach those Democrat politicians, teach them how to cross that aisle? This is something Joe Biden was good at in the past. He was really good at that, working across the aisle. Why don't you teach them how to do this? You're not even going to try to talk to them about it. You're not even going to try. Democrats have control of the Senate, but passing a bill through it would likely require 60 votes, which would necessitate about 10 Republicans supporting it. They're not going to try. Do you see what I'm saying? How do you just throw your hands up in the air, right? How do you just throw your hands up in the air? Oh man. Exit polls showed that abortion was a major motivating issue for voters this election cycle. You see that? They're not even going to try. This is my thing. Okay. This is kind of how I look at it. You try it anyway. And then if the Republicans block it, then let people see who blocked it. Let people see. This is the same thing with the $15 minimum wage increase, right? Some people didn't want them to vote on that. They voted on it anyway. It didn't pass, but we got to see who's who. We got to see that all the Republicans were against it, but we also got to see that, guess what? 7 Democrats were against it. People need to see those names. They need to see who's who. So then if they vote against it, then people in their district need to put pressure on that politician and have someone primary them. That's how this works. Same thing with force the vote. You should have brought the bill to the vote anyway, even though we don't have let people see who's who. Let people see, because people need to see that the politicians in their district who are saying, well, yeah, I think everybody should have health care. Let their constituents see if they really mean it. And if they don't, then you primary them. This is what you should be doing. You can't just throw women under the bus like that. You really can't. Although Democrats performed surprisingly well in the midterm elections, Biden's remarks Monday underscored the limitation of his policy agenda as he adjusts to what will likely be a divided Congress. Biden said at a news conference that the midterm elections demonstrated the strength and resilience in American democracy through voters, strong rejection of election deniers at every level. What these elections showed is that there's a deep, unwavering commitment in America to preserving and protecting and defending democracy. But what about defending a woman's right to choose? Democracy, people didn't come out because this is crazy to me. People came out because they wanted you to codify Roe v. Wade. People came out because they were excited that you canceled a portion of their student loan debt, which, by the way, is now blocked. Some people came out because they didn't want to control Republican control again. And you can't deliver. You can't deliver on the promises. This is why we vent the way that we do. This is why I heavily criticize the Democrats, because they're supposed to be the ones to protect the social issues. They're not doing a good job of that. Not doing a good job of that. So I have a hard time believing that he didn't know. Biden is traveling overseas for a series of international conferences. He attended the UN Summit on Climate Change in Egypt last week and is in Bali for the annual meeting of the Group of 20 leading rich and developing nations. Biden said that throughout his trip, it's been clear just how closely the world, our allies and our competitors as well, have been following our election at home. So again, for those just joining, Biden says Democrats will not be able to pass abortion rights legislation. This should really make you feel some kind of way. Now, I will say there were, I believe, 4 states that did protect a woman's right to choose through ballot initiatives or amending their constitution, their state constitution. But it's interesting, though, because the states didn't necessarily promise to do that. The Democratic Party did. Congress did. Joe Biden did. And this is why they should have been upfront with people from the very beginning. And they should have said, well, instead of just saying we just need 2 more seats in the Senate and we can do it, you should have told them about the House. And you should have also told them, listen, we would need like 10 Republicans to sign on in the Senate in order to get this done. Even though that's bad news, people have to hear all of it. People have to hear the good, the bad, the ugly. They have to hear all of it. But you don't do people like this. Another failure, another promise. But what kills me the most is that they're not even willing to try. That's the problem. I don't know what to say. I don't know what else to say. Like, really, it just, wow. It never ceased to amaze me. Never ceased. Deneen says they're not going to give away their only leverage. They know it's the only thing they can run on. These Democrats are straight trash. You see? Because they couldn't run on the economy. Breeze. New Congress hasn't even started and the fight's already. Oh, that's my point. That's exactly the point, Breeze. Like, that's the thing that boggles my mind is like, they just got there and he's already saying defeat. Already saying what you can't do. Instead of saying what you can do or what you're going to try to do. Already admitting defeat. Deanna, our lives are a big game to U.S. politicians. Real bummer. Yeah, man. It just, God. Because you guys got to understand the abortion issue. I've heard excuses every time. Under Obama said that he was going to do it in 2009. He said it would be the first thing that he would do. Then he got there and then he said he couldn't because they didn't have the votes. And they had control of the Senate and the House, but he blamed Lieberman. But even Ro Khanna will tell you, as he told me, they should have abolished the filibuster, though. They could have done that. So there was excuse under Obama. Obviously, I didn't expect Trump to do it, the Republican. But now we got another excuse. And they've been going back and forth on this. It's ridiculous. This should have been done already. This could have been done decades ago. Kenneth, Biden told us he has no empathy for us. He was telling us the truth for once. Deneen, Dems now protect corporate interests. That is the job. That's right. Thank you for the super chat, Delthea. The Dems want to protect democracy. They just don't want to actually practice democracy. That's right. That is right. And thank you for the super chat, the Traveler. They could have codified it with a carve out from the filibuster with Collins and Murkowski vote. You guys hear that? That's why I told you, my whole adult life, I've seen them do excuse after excuse as to why they can't do this. Ay. And thank you for the super chat, Roger. The GOP takes over January 1st. Chuck Pelosi can codify now. That's a good point. Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point. Why can't they just go ahead and do it now? Ay, ay, ay. This drives me crazy. It really does. Pass that on to your friends and family, guys. Let them know. Why aren't they trying to do it right now before they come? Ah, man. I'll take that comment. Yeah. Thank you for the tip on Rockfin Roger. The federal government keeps proving my argument that they will always refuse to pass legislation on our behalf. Therefore, it will be up to us. Keep pushing those ballot initiatives, y'all. The rest of the country is moving on and taking matters into their own hands. This is true. Like, and I understand not everyone lives in a ballot initiative state, but if you actually look at progressive legislation, it's passing in the states. It's passing on the local level. We've passed several progressive policies here in Massachusetts, but it's not just Massachusetts. Florida's a red state. Some people call it swing. Ain't no swing no more. Florida's a red state. They passed $15 minimum wage. Like what? What? South Dakota just expanded Medicaid. Red state. Most of the ballot initiative states are red states. That's what people need to understand. So this is why I push the local so much, because you see what happens here with someone like Joe Biden. You got to go through Congress. You got to go through the House. You got to go through the Senate. And then the president has to sign off on it. It can fail at any one of those spots. It could fail in the House. It could fail in the Senate, or it can fail under the hands of the president. When you're doing this on the local level, you have a better chance of getting it through because you don't have to go through all these different. So frustrating. It's so frustrating. You do what you need to do for the ballot initiative so that you get the signatures that you need to get the question on the ballot. And then the people, we vote. That's called direct democracy. You see, Joe Biden, when it talks about protecting democracy, all the Democrats have been talking about this all this year, gearing up for the midterms. But they don't tell you about direct democracy, which is putting the power in the hands of the people. I think Oregon, I'll have to read about this more because I didn't get a chance to read all of it. But Oregon actually just declared that healthcare is a constitutional right. Now I have to read into that and see what that all entails. But I mean, it's just, is that happening on the federal level, really? Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay.